Welcome back to Friday Reviews. I'm going to be reviewing today Dogma by Crown the Empire, one of my favorite bands of all time. I have been following this band since 2012, since the Fallout. That they've had a huge impact on my life. They spent a lot of time in my listening rotation. Any of my friends will tell you I don't shut up about these dudes. I've got, again, with the flex section, I've got every single, this one's new, this is very new, every single one of their albums on vinyl. And I believe I have them all on CD as well, except for Sudden Sky. Oh, and the first EP, the very first EP, the way that it originally was. As you can see, they're a pretty big influence on my life. I went and saw them live over in Australia when they were in their Rise of the Runaways era. That shit was amazing. And unfortunately, today I am tasked with the displeasure of giving these guys a negative review. I have to. It's the only way that I can really justify it. These guys, they've been around a long time. They became one of the big heads of the metalcore era. They were my greatest of all time. Anytime anyone brought up like, oh, what's your favorite band? Crown the Empire, immediately. They had some innovative sounds. They pushed the boundaries. They had a really cool aesthetic. Everything about them was amazing. So we've come into this new era, Dogma, the album Dogma. So to start off, they released the single In Another Life with Courtney LaPlante from Spirit Box, which is a great move. They're label friends, I believe. They're Spirit Box and Crown the Empire are on the same label, Rise Records. And from that song, I knew that something was wrong. Don't get me wrong, I actually kind of enjoyed that song for the songwriting aspect of it. But the production, I don't understand what happened, how it got past so many people. Think about it. The production of this album went to the band, of course, to the band and the songwriters, which we'll get into later. Got into the hands of the band, they listened to it, and they thought, yep, this is it. Let's send it off. Clip it, ship it, get out the door. Then it would have gone to some quality assurance people. I hope that's how that works. It would have gone to the label either way, and someone would have had to have listened to it. And they approved it. They approved it, and they said it's going out the door. It's incredible how like horrible this production level is. The guitars are scratchy as shit. Like they've been reported on a Metal Zone, which is a guitar pedal that everyone in the metal scene has probably had at one point in their life. And no, it sounds like a disturbed bee's hive. We got really weak bass. They've taken out all of the low end. It's compressed to hell and back. Drums, if you're hearing this, it sounds like they went to Home Depot, picked up like a plastic bucket, put it down and said, that's our kick pedal. We'll fill it with a little bit of cement. And I think that the closest thing to being right is the snare, and that is scary. Vocals are peaking and distorted in the worst way possible in a lot of places, which I don't understand why. What is the purpose of that? Why is it that you can have something like, say, The Fallout, which is an incredibly produced album, back in 2012, and then you bring out this and say, yep, this is it. This is the one. I'm disturbed and confused, and I just don't understand it. Now, unlistenable production, that could be fine if the songwriting is great, right? Unfortunately, the songwriting end suffers as well. It's boring. It's forgettable. Most of the songs I can't remember a single melody from. Sure, I haven't spent as much time with the previous albums as I have with this. Still, I remember the first day hearing those, and I would have them stuck in my head. They earworms, they go crazy. It's so lifeless and boring and forgettable. Now, I think I have a theory as to why. They credited two songwriters, Zach Jones and KJST Rock. Both of them have been involved with another metal band, Veil of Maya, for their newest release, which is a little shaky at the moment, but I'm still holding out hope that the album's going to be good because I love those guys as well. But I did notice that they helped some less than respectable artists. One, Zach Jones has helped Scene Queen. If you know who that is, it's metal, but she's like talking over it and doing the whole like murderous thing. Is like, I'm an edgy girl. Very horrible, very cringe. Barbie and Ken, that's a good example. And then the worst thing that I found was KJST Rock was involved with MGK. Mainstream Sellout. He helped write, I don't know how many songs on the album, but if you're involved with that project, you're not gonna be writing some good music. That was an atrocity. That was one of the worst albums to happen to heavy music. And the worst thing is, it is one of the most successful of our day at the moment, which is the worst. Let's go into a bit of the positives, because I don't really like talking shit about my favorite band. I'm thoroughly disappointed, but at the same time, I did pull out a couple of songs that I liked. In Another Life, Dancing with the Dead, which it's a fun ass song. Very simple, but very to the point, and I can see that going off live. That would be such a fun song, and it's just got a really nice pocket. It's a serviceable song. And Someone Else, there's a chorus section for that song that goes crazy. And I'm baffled. Because if they were mixed better, I would be listening to those on repeat right now. But the mix is so unlistenable that I can't help but get ear fatigue every time I listen to these songs, because they're piercing the wrong parts of my ears. Now back into the negative side of it, there are some songs on this that I wish never happened. Black Sheep being the last single they released before the album dropped. That song, it was just useless. It kind of didn't do nothing. It was just middle of the road. I didn't care for it. There's a song on it called Superstar, featuring Remington Leith from Palais Royale. Those guys are very close, those two bands. I don't personally like Palais Royale that much, but I do love the friendship that they share. That shit's really cool to see. They're just a bunch of mates going and playing music, that's the dream, right? So Superstar is kind of a poppy song. It's trying to be like it's trying to have a real catchy chorus and like a real laid back acoustic vibe to it, and just like menacing and all, and it just falls flat. It is probably the worst song that they've ever written. They always have one song on their albums that's way more laid back and very different from the other songs, and it was this one this time around, and I don't care for it at all. I think that it would have been better unreleased, or putting the dude from Palais Royale on any other song on the list would have been cool. But yeah, it should have never happened. That song should not have been released. It's horrible. If you like it, go hard, but I don't think it's any good. Immortalize. This is another one that I originally thought that would be better if it was mixed better. This was obviously them going into a more down-tuned setting. A lot of bands are trying to get that 8-string sound, that like detuned or like pitch shifted down to like lower octaves. And a lot of bands have succeeded from that sound, but these guys did not know how to mix it. It sounds horrible. The chorus is incredible. I will say that, but it does not save the song. It does not save the song. So in summation, this album, as much as I would love to love it, because I've defended every album of theirs. The EP was great, Limitless. Fallout and Rise of the Runaways was incredible. Retrograde, I'll still defend. They have some fun songwriting on that, even though I don't think that they wrote most of the songs, according to David Escamilla, which we'll get into in just a sec. I defended Sudden Sky because it was a fun album, and it had that Crown the Empire feel, that aesthetic that I love so much. And this one, it just falls flat. unfortunately. I know that in the earlier days, after the Resistance, Rise of the Runaways, their guitarist either left or was kicked out. I don't know which one, but on his departure, the songwriting decreased because he was the main songwriter and David Escamilla was still in the band. They were chilling, doing their thing. Then after the retrograde era, they kicked out or they parted ways with David Escamilla, who was kind of the driving force of the band. He was the more talented vocalist and he was starting to pick up the guitar, which was so cool. Apparently he really wanted to be involved in the songwriting process, but they kept kicking him out of the studio. That's really sad when it's your band. Like, bro. I know that Brent Taddy has left since the Southern Sky era. He was the drummer. I think he left of his own volition. And they got in some other dude he's not bad. He's serviceable. Brent Taddy he provided some really cool back drumming and actually taught me a little bit about drums myself when learning his songs. So again, in summation, I'd say that this is going to be a void on my scale. I don't think I'll be listening to this very much in the future. I'm thoroughly disappointed to say that because these guys are my favorite band and I hope that they can come back from this because it would suck to see them just go down the hole and become just weak. Come on, man. Just give us something. Give us something. Give us something incredible. I need something incredible from you guys again because I'm sure as fuck not getting it with Zach Jones and KJ behind the goddamn helm. If you've listened to the album, let me know what you think. I may not agree with your take. I may agree with your take. Leave it down in the comments. Come and chat with me. I do reviews every Wednesday on my Twitch. Next week, I'm going to be doing Dayseeker's Dark Sun because I do want to do a positive review. I'm really, really sad that I've had to do 2 negative reviews on 2 of my favorite bands of all time. So I'm bringing in a positive one. I'm doing a retroactive. Didn't listen, but you've convinced me not to. Yep, that's the beauty of these reviews. But at the same time, I would want you to make up your own opinion about these albums because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. This is the voice of one diehard fan that can't tolerate this shit at the moment.